All right, we'll call to order the July 10th, 2026 meeting of HVAC IAQ Building Committee. Stand for the pledge. Stand up and see the deer eating my plants.
Hopefully it's the ones you don't want.
Breeding, they're the baby on my street now, so in Oz, it keeps eating my plants.
You could have worse problems.
I know. I can enjoy my first world problems for a moment. All right, we're skipping the meeting minutes. That was discussed beforehand, so those are coming.
Yeah, and I just talked to George beforehand. The recording is there because when I logged in this morning, it's on the WebEx. So I just got to figure out how to get it off WebEx, which I've never had to do before because it normally just downloads. So we'll figure that out.
Okay. We don't have Tim yet, so we'll pause on those updates.
Well,
Okay.
I'll stall with phase one. With the RTU 1920 and 22 at Woods, talked to Air Plus. They had the rigger out there on Monday. They're getting us. The rigger's supposed to get back in touch with them this on Wednesday. I just reached out to Jayton to see when the rigger is coming and when it's scheduled, but it's should be next week is what we talked about 2 weeks ago. So ABS is on board to disconnect the units. Then they'll get the rigger to take the old ones off, put the new ones on, and ABS will be there to put everything back together again. So we're talking hopefully next week. It should be only a 3 to 5 day job. So hopefully it's done by end of next week. And then also at Woods, we have the fire alarm going on. Did speak with them. They started up, and that should be basically the month of July. They'll be in there, replacing the fire alarms.
Good morning, guys.
Hi, Tim.
Tim, good morning, Joe.
Good morning. Sorry I'm late. Technical issues.
Okay. Mark, anything else on your side then?
Nope, that is it.
All right, Tim, we're on updates of phase one.
Sure. I have the log.
Bridge.
I mean, there was a minor update from last time. Let me know when you guys can see the log.
It is there.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah, I mean, not much movement from last week, just due to what is on the list. So I think it sounds like Mark was talking about maybe some of his items here.
We just went over the fire alarm.
Yeah,
so
and then the new replacement RTUs.
The
Yes.
mid-June items, are those scheduled?
So these two items are obviously hand in hand. The commissioning is still ongoing. There was an issue with DOAS 3. Train is scheduled to come out Monday the 13th to do repairs. They came out last week to do troubleshooting. That's that plus that wood shop item, Jeff. The wood shop ventilation item is the last open items at Woods as far to conclude the cooling side commissioning. So once Train does the repairs to that unit, and that will at least conclude the balancing. The wood shop item is still an open item that obviously we have been discussing and troubleshooting how to move forward. The 10-month walk, Mark, I'm not sure how we would normally handle this since we did not make it in the spring. Is there going to be something that's done in the early fall once
Yes.
school's in session for a few weeks?
Yeah, we'll do one in the fall.
So it's going to be what, mid-September essentially, or would it be?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right at the beginning of September. Get them in.
Okay.
Were all the known issues that were brought up at the end of the school year addressed? We know.
I mean, yes, a lot of the issues that we were getting towards the end of the school year were just the basically because they weren't balanced out. So a lot of them were like, hey, the rooms are too cold, they're not cold enough. So we were addressing those on the fly with ABS to make sure that individuals were getting some sort of feedback. So I think yes, the answer is we were adjusting things as we needed. And obviously now with the full balancing and testing of all the units, we should, everything should be good to go come when everybody returns. But that's what this meeting will do, Jeff, this 10-month walk. Essentially, we'll get feedback from everybody in the building, faculty, everybody, and ensure that the balancing that's been done is satisfactory to the people in the building.
All right. Anything else at Woods? Questions on Woods?
No, that would be it. Did you guys discuss the RTUs?
Yes.
Okay.
Should be next week.
Okay.
Getting
So,
final confirmation. Actually, just got it in. The rigger will be there on Tuesday.
Okay, so that's
14.
14, yeah. Okay. The North Stratfield, again, same situation. Again, SPA, the punch list that we had with those handful of items, we're still in legal with young developers. I know the bonding company is fully in charge at this point. Amar, I don't know if it's a discussion that we have with Sal about getting another roofer out there to just remedy these things, or how this gets handled at this point because of the legal actions that are.
No, what I'll
involved.
do we have, other than the emails or the text that I've seen, do you have those all in one location? I can send those to the bonding company. I mean, he still has a contract. He's not fully terminated. So bonding company just have to put pressure on him to go out there and address those issues. So if you could send me an email with locations and I can fire it over to them. Sal, I'll copy you on that correspondence too. And Mark.
Sure.
So you guys are aware. You got it.
Okay. So yeah, again, nothing that's affecting the performance. I think I've said it before. It's just aesthetics. It's caulking that needs to be cleaned up and some bent metal that just needs to probably be redone and replaced. So, and then again, same issue with the cooling side. We had a call this Tuesday and RTU1 was still in question as not cooling the space properly to the set point. Train was also out there that same day, about a week and a half ago, troubleshooting that. They are also going to be repairing that unit on the 13th as well. So my hope is that by Tuesday next week, on Tuesday's commissioning call, we'll have updates that those units have been fixed with, if it was a coolant leak or something, they're going to be repaired, and we'll be moving on with Van Zelm to ensure that they're performing as necessary, which would then close us out of those schools with the cooling side balancing. Osborne Hill is actually, I'm leaving this open only because I want the full sign off from Van Zelm, but as of this past Tuesday, there were no open issues at Osborne as far as balancing on the cooling side. Everything was closed and there were no new issues. So we should be 100% good to go at Osborne at this time. That's all I have for phase one. Was there any questions?
Just to put a finer point on it, so how do you confirm that, Tim? What is that? What's needed to make that item 15 green for next meeting?
Van Zelm will just send us, I believe they have like the final report they send out that everything has been reviewed and balanced. They should have some kind of like final report that they'll send us out that everything has been 100%. So I will speak to Rob about what that exactly is. But that's my understanding, is that we need that report for all 3 schools. So I will speak to him, Jeff, and I can give you an update as exactly what he provides us. But I know it's like some sort of sign off.
Okay. Joe, any questions on day 1 updates? Randy reports he's having some trouble with WebEx. He's left the meeting, so hopefully he'll return.
Who? Robbie?
How else are we going to do math? All right. So Joe, if you're good, we'll move on to Tomlinson.
Yeah. So Tomlinson, we are moving along as scheduled. Currently this week, we've had steel going in the mezzanine, Jeff, that you and I looked at last week when you came out for the OAC. All the support steel's going in there. We do have our crane pick set for next Thursday. Again, everything's weather pending with crane picks. We have blocking and everything going in early next week. That'll get us prepared to launch and set the curbs. So right now we're planning on picking curbs and units end of next week. Again, all weather pending. And we have other miscellaneous work going on inside the school, but the main focus, the critical path, is steel to blocking to curbs, so we can set the units. And then we have all the connection work and everything to bring power and gas to the rest of those units.
Okay. So there was 2 follow-up items in Tomlinson. One was the paint. We had painted the ceiling in the gymnasium, and we had found you guys had identified some additional prep work that maybe needs to be done, or repainting because of the peeling.
In the auxiliary gym, right?
Auxiliary gym, yeah.
Yeah.
Will they be able to get up there? Is that just a pending item still?
Yeah, I walked it with Mark the other day, and I think, it's one of those things where I don't know if we mess with it at this point, Jeff. Like, it's not peeling and chipping. It's just they saw some bubbling in certain areas that we did not prep and touch because the paint was not chipping. So they just wanted to note it to us that, hey, this could become a potential issue.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't think we need, it's up to you guys. I don't necessarily think we open that can of worms, but if we do, it would be good to do it, obviously, right now during the summer. So I think Mark and I were like, I think we just let it go for now, and we let it be.
It's not visible from the ground.
No, it's not visible from the ground.
You're not seeing the bubbling. You're not seeing the red oxide primer that's on the steel.
Right.
The secret room above the auxiliary gym. I don't know, Sal, if you there's an area up there that was holding air handlers that's no longer there. So you have quite a bit of square footage that's has sprinkler heads, but it's not being utilized for anything right now. So I don't know if there's any.
I'm getting like every third word that you said. I don't
The-
know if it's my
the-
connection.
No, Jeff
All right,
and I-
I'm gonna go off video.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Jeff and I walked it last week when he came out the mezzanine, Sal. He's just saying that, do you have any plans for that room? There is current sprinkler coverage up there right now. There's obviously no air ventilation.
Nature abhors a vacuum, so it will be filled by somebody as soon as somebody learns about it. It will more than likely it'll be gymnasium storage, because it was pretty. They were trying to find spaces for mats and hoops and back nets.
It's a terrible staircase, but it's a lot of room.
Right. And I don't know how they'll reorganize it across the building, but yeah, it will definitely be, the extra square footage would definitely be utilized. There's no doubt about it. Hopefully it won't be a junk gatherer. Hopefully the vertical access makes it so that it's not a junk gatherer. But I assume that it will be used by the PE staff for storing
The only thing I will just say is if
equipment.
you had any future plans, I don't know if you would want to entertain the idea of demoing out those slabs while we have people on site, because there's 4-inch pads in there that those air handlers sat on, and just for future use, you're gonna have a tripping hazard.
Oh yeah, I mean, if we can grab a number for that and make it more useful, because that would be never something that the maintenance people would be ready to take on. It's one of those things that would have to be done in conjunction with the construction project. So,
Right.
if you can put together a number for that, and we can have the discussion with
I can
the
talk
building
to
committee.
Oscars. I imagine it wouldn't be very much at all. They're not big, and when Jeff and I were walking up there looking at the space.
Yeah.
I mean, if you do anything, that would be the one thing I'd recommend, just because it just creates a safety hazard for anyone who's up there trying to move stuff around.
It's a tripping hazard.
Yeah.
And yeah. Other than that, unless you want to put a dumbwaiter up there to make it easier for the PE staff.
I mentioned that actually. Yeah, there's an old ductwork channel there from the first floor.
No, that is getting reused. Sadly,
it's either that or an incline lift. Up the whatever you're up for. Jeff.
I mean, with Rodney's blessing, I can
teachers.
put in a whole elevator system. It's whatever you guys want.
They're PE teachers. Get their steps in.
Give them a rope ladder.
Exactly, right?
Like a shift ladder.
If we could get rid of the slabs, just to eliminate
I'll talk with
the trip
Oscars.
hazards. That would be great, and then if the building committee's up for that, that's even more awesome.
I'll get a price to chip it out, and then I'll get a little floor leveler price from Acoustics just to smooth it out, and then you'll have just one big, two large storage areas you can utilize for future.
Okay.
Okay, sounds good. I mean, that's all I have for Tomlinson as far as updates, and that's it.
Okay, so Joe or Rodney, any questions on Tomlinson or phase one? Before we move on?
No.
None for me, no.
Okay, hearing none. All right, Mark, contingency log. Anything?
Yep. All right. We only have 2 of them. The Tomlinson Middle School. I noticed this morning that it did not catch the 2. There are 2 spaces.
Zoom in, please.
Yeah. There's really nothing to see on this one. I need to add in the housekeeping pads that we just discussed. There's also there's 2 sets of louvers on the exterior of the building that were being discussed at the OAC meetings, and I thought I had added those in on the bottom of the pending contingency log. I put some money on there just because there may be changes to it, but we should be covered by the contract and the contract work in there. But I just wanted to get those on there just as a contingency. So I'll add 3 new ones and send this out again for that. And then
Just that color for Rodney and Joe, the louvers he's referring to up on the mezzanine, there was airflow because of the air handlers, and with no air handlers anymore, that space is becoming stagnant. So the question is how to best what to do with those louvers, and from the cost-effective perspective. But there's also sheetrock in that room and stuff. So how do we make it that it doesn't become a moisture trap, but at the same time keep the aesthetics on the outside of the school? That's the discussion that's going on with the.
There is scope to infill them as part of the bid documents, but looking at the best way to handle it is we'll add some cost. Well, we'll encumber some cost just in case the contract work doesn't cover that. And then on Woods, this was the ATP that I sent out that I pulled back. This is RFI 180, the mounts to the wood shop unit ventilators. This needs further discussion, I feel, in talking with Jesse yesterday, as far as, is there anything down the line that it's going to affect as far as the electrical or moving dust collection, or is there a better way that we can solve this problem without adding additional, even if we adding these intake covers to them? So, Jesse, do you want to describe what this ATP is about?
Sure, one sec. Let me just, I have it up on the screen here.
You can share.
Yep. I don't think I've ever shared out here before. Trying to just figure out all the controls, sorry.
We're seeing it.
Okay. So the kind of history of this is this wood shop here has 2 unit ventilators in it, and it previously had 2 unit ventilators in it. So we were simply, as part of this project, the old ones were heating only unit ventilators. The new ones are heating and cooling unit ventilators. So basically we were doing almost a 1-for-1 swap, but we were adding cooling to them. So nothing really changed in terms of the way the HVAC was going to work in this room. You know, unit ventilators sit on the floor and they recirculate air. We got a report earlier this year that these new unit ventilators are sucking sawdust off the floor, and the filter's getting clogged up and it's throwing it around the room. So based on that report that they were sucking sawdust off the floor, we worked with the rep of the equipment, this is already custom equipment to get the cooling in these unit ventilators. But we worked with the rep to develop a plan to have an air intake that's not on the floor. So what we have here, we've put together, is essentially they are radiator enclosures, but it's putting a little radiator enclosure on the side here. Let me zoom in even further. So it's about 3 foot long by 4-inch wide radiator enclosure. There would be a hole cut between this enclosure and the unit ventilator. So instead of the air coming across the floor and in the bottom here, coming out this grill, it's going to go in the top over here, just go down a few inches, come in through the side into this, and then come back out. So it gets the intake completely off the floor up to about 3 feet high. So this is 2 of these 3 foot long enclosures on each of the 2. And if we look at it in photo, I added these yellow things. So it would essentially be like this. I don't know the exact height. It's 14 inches high, so this is about right on here. You know, I line up with the hole that'll be cut in the side. It could be, you know, it could be like this. It could be there. It'll be somewhere in there.
Could it be higher?
I don't think so, because we have to cut between this enclosure in through this cabinet. So we have to have a hole connecting the 2.
Could you do it with piping or something, duct?
I think, in my opinion, based on the size of the radiator enclosure only being like 4 inches or so deep from the wall, I think you're going to need the entire area of the side of this. So basically it's the entire 4-inch wide from the top to the bottom here. So that's like the size of the, opening
Yep.
into the cabinet. So I think we're gonna need that full piece. I think best case scenario.
Isn't having a machine, sorry, isn't having a machine that generates sawdust above a top mounted air intake? Isn't that simply going to have a gravity issue and it's going to suck in all the sawdust from the top? I'm not sure I see how it remediates the problem, moving it from the floor to the top when the machines are right there.
And this is what Mark and I have been talking about, not just yesterday, but we talked about it in more detail yesterday. We said the same thing because while this can't hurt, we don't know if it will solve the problem. Typically, a wood shop should have a full dust collection system, so there's no sawdust in the air.
Right.
And we're not sure if the dust collection in this room functions at all, functions somewhat, does a little bit. There's also filter units at the ceiling of the room that, again, we don't know if they work. We don't exactly know what goes on. And our scope on this project was to add air conditioning. So seems reasonable to say, hey, we had unit ventilators before, we're putting in new ones. So now, as you just brought up, Jeff, we're getting into a whole thing where we're now getting into the whole dust collection in the room versus the air conditioning. So while I think this will help, there is no guarantee it will solve the problem. I think that's where we are. Because really, this is not supposed to get rid of sawdust in the air. Mark, do you want me to share any of those photos or not?
The photos that I shared with you are the photos that I shared with the building committee as well.
Okay, so
But yeah, you can, yeah.
One of the, I think on one side, one of them was a belt sander.
Yeah,
It's not like a drill press that generates some. This is a lot of sawdust being generated right next to an intake. So
no, that is true.
okay.
And part of, just by general logic, how did these work before the project? Same type of units. They pull air in the same spot, they discharge it in the same spot. Nothing really changed in the systems, but one second, just trying to get having trouble opening this. 1 second. And Mark, I have a whole bunch of my own photos from that wood shop, but I think yours are the best because it was when school was in session. Mine were in summer, so it doesn't really quite look the same.
So Mark, you started the conversation by saying that you were going to have further discussions. So it sounds like that's they're going to put your heads together and think about it more and figure out what makes sense. Come back with a proposal. Maybe to do nothing, maybe to do something.
Yeah, I think that's the best approach, is to make sure that one, if this is the path, make sure that it will solve the problem that we're trying to solve, and additionally not create new ones as far as moving conduits and dust collection.
Yeah. Because I can guarantee you, if that hose is simply laid on the top of a vertical intake, it's going to clog it.
Yeah, Jeff, we're also looking into shop procedures and shop hygiene and the functionality of the dust collecting systems that are already in there. Why that particular hose is disconnected, it might have been because a malfunction occurred on the dust collection system, and we're looking at something else. Not exactly sure why. We have maintenance. Angelus actually walked through with one of the supervisors from maintenance, so we don't have an exact answer for you. But we're putting this forward to in case it's part of the solution. And it wouldn't be acted upon until we got a more full answer, but we don't want to necessarily, and it's up to you if you want to just put a pin in it. It was just to, have this ready to go if it's ends up being part of the solution.
Yep. No, that was the idea of the log, was to bring the stuff up early so people aren't surprised when the bill comes in. So, yep.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Is this a classroom environment or is this just a workshop?
It's both. It can be the classroom, and they're standing, they're around the workbenches. I don't know if Mark, you have the bigger workbench area.
Well, that little area is a lot dangerous. There's a lot of issues there.
That's how my wood shop looked in middle school. I'm surprised. I didn't know I didn't know they still had wood shop in middle schools here. I'm glad to hear it.
A lot don't.
Yeah. I mean, this is that
Where
one.
else would you build a water pump lamp? I don't know if you had that in your school. Anyway.
We did win times.
Oh, okay. All right.
Is this differently laid out during the school year? Because it looks like everything's pushed against the wall.
Yeah, no, there are different placements, I believe. I do believe that sometimes equipment depends on what the unit is.
I think it's just the vantage point of Mark's photo here.
Yeah.
His photos were taken during the year. So he was just happening to stand in an open spot, but if you turn left or right from where he was, there are benches there.
Well, I mean, this is a no-brainer that it's problematic. Look what's happening there in that picture.
Yeah, with the.
Of course, I changed it on you.
No, it's all right.
All right.
But yeah, it's
Oh, there. Yeah, I see that. Okay.
A lot going on in that room. Okay.
Well, Jesse, how effective are those unit heaters or coolers going to be with all that equipment in front of it?
I don't see it really blocking it too much.
Okay.
I don't see the air intakes or discharges blocked at all on this stuff. So I don't, the discharge is out the top. There's nothing except when there's a hose on top of it, like in that picture, but it's pretty free on top of it. So I don't see an issue with the functionality of it.
The bigger issue is the sawdust coming on the intakes and clogging the air intake. That's the core problem, right?
Yeah, that's the core problem, and it seems to be a bigger problem than the new HVAC. It seems to be an overall space issue with the other systems.
Okay, thank you. All right, back to the agenda. Mark, anything else on your contingency log?
Nope.
Okay. So ATPs, you pulled
we
that
only had
one.
we only had that one. So on to
Invoices?
Yep.
Do we have
So
to
we had-
amend the agenda? Because we're not doing the ATPs?
Well, we tabled it.
I guess we can, yeah, if you want to be formal, we could make a motion to table the ATP. So I'll make a motion to table the ATP that was submitted with the backup material until our next standing meeting.
Second.
I'll second.
Any discussion?
No.
Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. 3 invoices, easy math.
There are 3 of them, basically all for Tomlinson. Gilbane's for their services in June, BL, and Collier's for their services in June.
All right. I'll make a motion to approve Gilbane's invoice for Tomlinson. Invoice number 011, date 6/30/2026, in the amount of $220,707.90.
I'll second.
Having a second, any discussion on the invoice from Gilbane?
No.
Okay, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'll make a motion to accept and approve BL Company's invoice for Tomlinson, invoice number 19. I'm not going to read all the numbers. Dated 6/26/2026 in the amount of $4,155.
I'll second the motion.
Having a second, any discussion on the BL companies?
Nothing.
No.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously. Thank you.
Last but not least, I make a motion to approve Collier's invoice number 1192133, dated 6/30/2026, in the amount of $7,575.97.
Second.
Having a second, any discussion on Collier's invoice?
Nothing.
None.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Okay, moving on to old business. I'm just reviewing notes here quick. I don't believe we have any outstanding old business on my side. Anything from Rodney or Joe?
No.
Old business? Any new business? I have none.
I have none.
None.
Very good. I will therefore make a motion to, well, before I say that, our next scheduled meeting is July 24th. That's in 2 weeks on Friday. That said, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Very good. Meeting is there and adjourned.